We're here. We are here. I just knocked everything over to off screen. You can't see it, but there's mayhem. Mayhem ensues off screen. I think we're gonna call that good. Hello. Welcome, everybody. This is Wired and Wednesday. If you haven't been here before, motherfucker, you are here now. For those of you who have been here before, this is just a little thing that I do on Wednesdays where I like to chat with people that I know or shit don't know, who are involved in the industry that I'm involved in with, to kind of give you better perspective on what it is that we're doing here. Because I think that a lot of people have just a grand disillusion of what happens in the music business, or whether it's local, national, or global. There's just a lot of things that people don't understand. And I think having these conversations not only keeps me sharp on what I'm doing, but it can, help artists that come in here, and some of the fans that just really give a shit about music. There's a lot of people that we talk to that just give a lot of shit about music and end up in the positions that they're at. So today, I would like to introduce you to somebody who has known me since the very beginning. And I don't mean like, she's known me for a while. I mean, she has known me since the very beginning of my career. That would be negative shows under my belt. That would be no records out. That would be begging Meli for shows so that I could try to get on beginning of my motherfucking career. So super happy to have you, Meli. Welcome to Wired and Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Cheers.
Cheers. And for everybody else, new or old, it is Wednesday, which means we are giving away a pair of free headphones to... Yeah, I know. We got to hook you up. We are giving away a pair of free Astro A10 headsets. So all you got to do is sub to the channel. If you got Amazon Prime, let Jeff Bezos pay for it. Okay? You don't need to be doing it. Let Jeff cover it. That motherfucker's got you. So you just use your Amazon Prime and you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And then you just hit !raffle in the chat, and that enters your name into the raffle. There are 21 viewers right now. The chances of you winning this goddamn headphones are huge right now. So make sure you do that. And while you do that, Meli, how the hell are you?
Good, man. It's Wednesday. It feels like 80 degrees here in Seattle. We're all running around in shorts and tank tops. It's probably actual 70 degrees, but that's just how we do here. We're like,
busted out the
it's so
kiddie
hot.
pool today. I busted out the goddamn kiddie pool today.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's supposed to start raining again tomorrow, but otherwise I'm good. It's been quite the ride, and things are starting to smooth out. It seems like we're trending in the right direction. That folks are starting to go back to work, and here we are, glass of wine, hanging out with one of my favorite people on a Wednesday. Somebody's about to get a pair of fucking headphones.
Yeah, someone. Hopefully it's not a repeat offender. We got people that are like fuck around and win twice in here. Pants. I was snowboarding at Snoqualmie with shorts and a t-shirt.
For
if
real.
That is not the whitest comment that has been in here for a long time. There it is. Pants, I love you. Welcome to the stream. Meli, tell me about yourself, because just to preface, like I already said, you've known me since the beginning of all of this, and that's because pretty much if you've seen a rap show in Seattle in the past 20 years or so, Meli booked it. If it was a good one, Meli booked it for sure. And to me, that's so crazy. And you are a name that I, moving to Seattle, heard from people like Macklemore and just anyone. It was Meli's got the shows. Meli had all the people that we were trying to play with, whether it be, fucking Devin the Dude at the Chop Suey to, way larger acts across the board. And so you were you were rites of passage for anyone coming out of Seattle for the past, at least for 15 years.
Yeah. It was a solid 20, man. Like just to say that too, man, 20 years I was booking shows in Seattle from the jump. And that is like, right. I appreciate that rite of passage for the artist, but man, it has been such an absolute privilege and opportunity. Like, I don't know, my whole team, like throughout the years, I think that our whole ethos has been about we started booking shows before dealing with booking agents. Like we were just hitting up artists. Like our first show back in '99 was Most Def at the UW. Back when, Fat Booty was just dropped. I mean, it was a big fucking deal. And we were like, there was no all ages hip hop shows or rap happening in Seattle, thanks to the fucking teen dance ordinance and some policy bullshit. And which has since then been abolished. If you're not familiar, think of it as kind of like a footloose legislation here in Seattle that pretty much made it like illegal and impossible for people to produce all ages concerts in general.
Yeah, 21 and up forever.
And there was a lot of hard work from folks from a long time. And I started real early, man. Like I, am really grateful for the access and opportunity that I've had to the music industry. I was, 11 years old the first time I went to a show it was the old Redmond Firehouse. I was 11 years old. It was like the second show they ever did there. And this is like the early 90s hardcore scene and indie rock scene that I actually grew up in. And it's if people who are local in Seattle know what the Vera Project is, think of it as like the original Vera Project, right? The people who started that venue are the people who started that program. So it was an all ages venue that was ran by the youth, for the youth, everything from like programming to working the door, booking shows, making flyers, like everything, like even night of, it was all youth ran. And it was fucking incredible. And I'm so grateful for that because that set forth and a domino effect for my entire life's endeavors. Just even, I was bullied the fuck out of school. Like nothing was, that was like the first time where I was like, who am I? And knowing that I had a voice and connecting with something that I loved. And man, it's just, I had 20-year career of being able, I'm not a musician or an artist. I'm a curator. I guess I'm my artist, a creative in my own right, but 20 years I got to dedicate my life and my career towards providing stages and opportunities and for people to perform, like mentorship opportunities for people to learn. In the same way that I did, it came into that kind of DIY, pay it forward mentality. We were the first people to ever bring any Rhymesayers artists ever out to Seattle. And this was like calling up Sean on the phone and just being like, hey, you want to come to Seattle? Yeah. I could say the first show that I ever booked was Atmosphere. The last show I ever booked was back in like 2001, like the first show I actually booked. The last show that we produced in Seattle, February 28th, 2019, was Atmosphere here in Seattle, sold out at Sodo.
I was there.
So that was February 28th, 2020, and that was 1 month before the fucking pandemic.
Oh, I wasn't there.
So if that wasn't, it was crazy that it's like we kicked off this journey really like with the Rhymesayers team, and then essentially ended this journey with the Rhymesayers team in that sense. And so it was fitting, but man, it's been quite the ride. And I've done a ton, whatever.
Come on, you dominated. Like it wasn't like Meli was like a part of a lot of people throwing hip hop shows. Like you were the one, like any quality act that came through, it was you. It like, even when I signed to Rhymesayers, like Jaybird was like, we'll call Meli. And I was like, how the fuck do you know Meli? He's like, everybody knows Meli, Ben. And it's like, oh shit. Like it, and that for me was like, my goal was always beyond Seattle. I know a lot of people have goals to conquer where they're at, not that conquering was ever my goal, but I was always looking past Seattle.
Always.
I saw a stage in Seattle, but I also saw a stage in Portland and a stage in Boise and a stage in Albuquerque. And, you know, like I didn't want to just focus on Seattle because I would beat Seattle to death and luckily at that point wasn't great music. Like I wasn't fully developed when my ambition was greater than my talent at the very beginning, I would say. But I think that view and that outreach helped me get up here because I was focused on all the artists here in Seattle. And that was the only thing that I had to compare myself. That was the only people that I was riffing with. But when I started leaving, when I started booking those tours on MySpace and shit, I started to meet all these other artists and I started to cross paths with people that were, you know, Rhyme Sayers, Def Jux, and all these other people, and opening some of your shows where I got to meet people like the Cunning Linguists and like watch how people operate was helped me broaden this is not a local thing anymore. Like this is if I focus and I work, there will be, you know, is Jaybird in here? The RJB? Is that the real Jaybird? We might have Jaybird in the chat. I don't know. I don't know if he's fucking lurking or what. But if
it is that he's got that Santa look on fucking lock right now. That's all I want to say.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Cheers.
Bought a cabin, grew his beard out. But you know, I'd say watching what you were doing motivated me to want to do more. And you were part of Seattle when Seattle didn't have, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like Seattle didn't have a local scene for a really long time. We had local artists, but we didn't have local fans. Not for local artists. Mm-hmm. We had fans that would come out to these national shows that you were booking, but the only way that we could get in front of those fans is if we played those shows.
Open, like, for national artists, right?
But then the Blue Scholars happened. And everything started to change. And you had mentioned the teen dance ordinance, and I don't know if those things kind of hand in hand had a thing, but I didn't see a change until the Blue Scholars. And it was this.
Dude, it all plays. Okay, so the crazy genesis of this story, I'm talking like so back in '99, there was a student organization. It was the Student Hip Hop Organization of Washington, or they're called the Show. It was founded by Sam Chesno out here, Mark Matsui.
Man, these are names I haven't heard in a long time.
So Geo and Sabzi and myself, and then there's a bunch of other people when you really start naming it, like DJ Chili from KEXP, like some of the most random people that you realize, like the waves, like the effects that things have. But we were all like the original members of the show. When I first started, I was, you know, coming on doing marketing, like handing out flyers and like helping them with like DIY marketing campaigns. And I was like a little D-bag graffiti writer and like wheat pasting posters everywhere. Like we, you know, like that was our nature. That was before I actually got into the programming side of the work. Like I worked with supporting the street team, managing the street team, designing the flyers, and then earned up bringing it back to Blue Scholars. So Mark Matsui and Geo were roommates in college. This is before Geo started rapping. And then Sabzi, you know, I remember Sabzi living in like frat row, like making beats out of like his upstairs, you know, bedroom. And like, I remember how this whole thing started. And I remember that during this, it was a community, it was a team, like we were a family. We were out here just like producing all ages shows, trying to create, you know, spaces for a community to come together, spaces for belonging, you know. That's like where that shit started. And like, to me, there is such a long history before that I have to acknowledge Jay Moore, Jonathan Moore, Word Sayer, and like the whole generation. We're talking the OGs in Seattle that really, they're, you know, if I were to go on a roll call, we would be here for like, you know, forever. But I just have to acknowledge that there was absolutely a community of culture. That's hip hop though. It's different. It was a community. It was a culture. It was, you know, before it hit mainstream and before there was like a big like audience, it was about community. You know, it was different. In Seattle, we had a real deep, and we still have a real deep community. I think that our relationship, as long as it has withstood time and built, is a good example of that. Man, I remember back in the day, just creating shows and like doing these DIY shows was like the genesis of how most of this shit started. That's where like Gio and Sabzi met in college doing these shows. They started booking shows and like, you know, they were performing. You had the Old Dominion crew, you had Macklemore coming in, you had everybody that was starting, you were coming in. I mean, it was, man, that was a time. That was an absolute time to be alive. And I have seen some iterations of that in like this younger generation. I've been kind of waiting for like the next like production company to come up and take the reins. You know, outside of like a venue or like an AEG or a Live Nation doing the shows. I was hoping to see more like community organizing. If you're out there and that's where your dream is, please hit up Ben, let them know, connect them to me. Like there is opportunity and there is room. If you're going to step up, you want to produce shows and groom and provide opportunities for this next generation of performers, need you, man. We got to keep that independent, like keep it real.
What does that take? I'm assuming that there's tons of hurdles and there's tons, like, there's good days and there's bad days with everything, right? But, like, what does it take to do, like, if you had to look back at all of your hurdles and all of your shortcomings and all of your successes, like, what does it take to do what you did? Because you didn't do a little thing. You did a huge thing. And if someone is to take the reins and
20 years,
yeah, but
over
still
20 years,
so there's one most dedication, of that, you know.
Just know that, like, look, if your intention is like you want to get into producing shows because you think it's going to be like a financially viable or like sustainable job, no. That you like basically, it's like, man, my ass worked for free or paid to produce shows for a solid decade. In the only time that I ever started making an earnable like income was when I actually, you know, to the other side and actually decided to like accept a position to be like a venue talent buyer. So I had like the Rain City stuff, and then I was also a venue talent buyer, and I booked for Nectar Lounge, Crocodile, you know. So there was a lot there, but if you want to start from the beginning, it doesn't take much, man. You can produce a show in your fucking, like, take it back DIY style. You can produce a show in your fucking backyard, in your fucking living room shows, in your fucking garage. Do you have a garage? I mean, at your school, like, you know, local venue, like, you can start small, you can start realistic. If you have friends that are performing, and maybe you're not a musician yourself, but it's just like you really like love and support them, and you want to be involved, then think about it from the perspective of how can you pool your resources together to just do like a cool DIY show. And it's not even about, you don't even need people from like outside, like, or fans. Don't even think about it. Keep that shit include like exclusive, because it's that exclusivity that fucking matters. Like that stuff, when you create your own authentic, crew and team and community, that shit is okay. That shit is valuable.
Yeah.
It's valuable to venues. It's valuable to talent buyers. Like when you're looking towards, I want to produce, huge shows and 1,000+ capacity stages or whatever. They are just like, they're looking for people that can do what they can't. And honestly, what they can't do is authenticity. So keep that shit real. Keep your scope realistic. And know that you don't need a huge budget. Look at what he's doing right now on this. He's like between Discord and like this whole thing that you're doing electronically. And you got everything that you fucking need. That is the difference between when I started. Think fax machine versus fucking whatever like platform that you're on now. I'm talking like y'all as independent, like just as people, you have access to all of the tools, if not more, for free or for very, very much affordable to be able to produce quality events.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. It is obtainable. It's not unrealistic. And
Yeah, especially you had mentioned so two things. You had mentioned if your goal is to just book 1,000 cap venues and fucking do this and that, then it's gonna be hard for you. And especially that, like, if you're trying to book venues that size instead of build up to venues that size, that show goes to the highest bidder. And you can buy your way into this game. Undoubtedly, you can buy your way into this game, but that does not mean that you're going to be good at it, and that does not mean that you'll be respected, because you can buy that show. Some people will take that show. There's a lot of people that are loyalists. I'm a loyalist. The Rhyme Sayers guys are loyalists.
Loyal.
And
that is what my entire career was built on.
Yeah.
Was loyalists, honestly. Like,
have you ever had to fight for an Atmosphere show?
All the time. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I mean, because it would drive, like, if other competitive people, as they've had multiple agents over the years, and no matter what,
I guess that's true. The agent's always going to run you for your shit.
Always going to run, right? So I would always have an opportunity to match, and at the end of the, like, when I say opportunity to match, like, if there was another offer, a competitive offer that came in for someone or for them, I would have the opportunity to, like, match it. But there would be a certain point where, honestly, I would just call Bird and be like, can we
not do this?
and honestly, and it's always, that's what we do, because, man, if you want that authenticity piece, it's about making real, genuine connections with people.
Yeah.
Like, there is a whole industry side of this, politics and the money side of it. But what, as an independent event producer, concert promoter, what has my whole run of success, 20 years, has been, because it's never been about making money. And I know that sounds fucking crazy, but it's never been about making money to me. It's been about creating authentic, meaningful relationships with people. We would go way the fuck above and beyond on hospitality, like way above and beyond. Like, we'll do anything. We'll pick you up from the airport, drop you off, be your runner, get you whatever you need, like, take you out, show you the best possible fucking time. Like, we were creating relationships with people. And I still have those relationships through this day, like, throughout my professional career. They still, and it's amazing to see how connections and things continue to have. But that, you can go, there's many different routes that you can take. Mine's been quite the journey. And I don't know, looking back, that I would have done it any differently.
Yeah.
At all.
Well,
because we definitely set a bar and a standard for, we set a bar and we set a standard for hospitality and just how you should conduct yourself in business, like, just doing good, honest business.
Fuck yeah. We have a dude in the chat that said it's who I thought was Jaybird, and it's not. It's the RJB. Said, this is basically what I'm trying to do. I love the industry. Right now, I run a community for indie artists, and I'm trying to help everyone grow together. And honestly, that sounds exactly what she had mentioned. Like, that sounds like a really good starting point. And the best part about where we're at now is there's a fucking, I guess that's where are you located at? There's a delay, so it'll take them a bit. But the best part about where we're at right now, technological wise, is you have an abundance of resources at your fingertips as far as knowledge is concerned. You have access to, like, master classes and all sorts of shit to help that community of indie artists, because you know what 9 out of 10 indie artists are? Bad with money. If you could fucking help them with that, that's a great way to start helping bands be successful. I always say finance, it's not the goal, but when a dollar comes in, it should be decided on what should be done with that dollar. If it's splitting 5 ways between the bandmates and you guys are gonna go fucking buy a piece of gum with it, then whatever. Or is that going towards a Facebook ad, a $1 Facebook ad or some shit like that? He's in Jacksonville, Florida, or she. I have no idea of your pronoun. I'm sorry. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, but the community is from all over the world.
Okay.
So you're doing like an internet thing, or you got a private jet. You got a private jet? If you got a private jet, come pick me and Meli up, and on the flight to the Bahamas, you could just soak up some game. You can ask any question you want. One question. And then
there's got to be a market. There's got to be a market there to do private shows on a jet too. So
Absolutely.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
To monetize that.
Yeah, start charging like $20 or something to do to come on the private jet, cross-continental flight. That sounds
20 grand.
Sounds like a great idea. It's crazy looking back at it all, and sometimes I mean half the reason why I started this is because I'll get like weird DMs from people, or I'll get people coming up to me on tour, or just people I know ask me questions about how this works or how I did that or what this is, and I've spent a great deal of my career sharing resources with people.
Yes, you fucking have.
And I always thought that it's weird. Like hip hop can be really competitive. The music business can be very competitive. It's not just hip hop, but a lot of people like to shelter the things that they have. And I've always been really into like, yo, this is my guy. He's really good at it. You should also have him as well. And it's been, I don't know. It feels like a decade of me doing that. And this is my way of doing this kind of on a wider spectrum. Like I want people to have a grander idea of what's going on, and the things that you're saying right now are like step one for most people that want to start doing shows or want to get into the business. Because here's the deal: you don't have to be an artist to be in the music business. If you care about music and you love music and you go to a show and you feel that energy and it wipes over you, like I probably feel when I first heard music. And I was like, holy shit, this is like me. Like I'm affected by it. And I think that's why I wanted to make music. I not only want to affect other people with the music I make, but first and foremost, I want to affect myself with the music I make. And I think if you wake up every day and you start taking steps towards things, like if it is like doing a job more like Meli, there is so much satisfaction that can be had in that world. Just contributing to something that you love so much can be. I mean, 20 years, Meli, 20 fucking years. Like, as low as the lows have got, the highs have had to be higher. You know, to keep you there for 20 years.
Oh man, without a doubt. I can't like. Man, karma is a real thing. It's about paying it forward. Those relationships, when you talk about making those authentic, you want some gold advice? Make friends with the assistants. Make friends with the interns. Okay?
Next up.
Like, yep, exactly. Interns become assistants, become managers, become owners, and they fucking run shit. And that is not too far off from like my own story and my own bio, but it's like, those relationships, you value those people. It matter. People matter. Relationships matter. So if they say that the music industry per se is a relationship-based industry, absolutely it is. And it's not necessarily a negative connotation. Like you have to know all the right people. You just have to know people.
Yeah.
You have to know people. And, you know, like and the guard changes. And opportunities change. I mean, shoot, I went, we have a very special guest.
Is this the one with the diaper?
You.
Oh, no, that's the one with the diaper. Oh, hey, buddy. It is the one with the diaper, not the dog.
He's got a different dog. Hi, baby.
Hey, man.
Hi. You say hi.
What's up, buddy?
This is Sebastian.
How you doing, Sebastian?
Ow.
Hi. Oh, my God. Meli.
Yeah. I know. He's ridiculous. This is what happens when you've been taking care of rappers for 20 years.
Yeah,
honestly,
no
toddlers. It's like, I've got this, man. Everybody's like, you're so cool, like you're so chill. And I'm like, It's called Rap Wrangler. It's been my job for 20 years.
Yeah. What's your rider look like? You need, how many ounces of bye-bye you need on your rider, huh? What's up, dude?
You know, like my last show, you know, like I said, the last show that we produced was February 28th, 2020 with Atmosphere. But you know, for the last like 3 years, I actually work staying true to, like, you know, the ethos that Ben, I would say safely, you and I, you know, that we're on, is paying it forward and being like a community and, like, you know, industry advocate for folks. I now work for the city of Seattle. I'm in the Office of Film and Music, and I currently, my job is to oversee special events, like our special events programs here in Seattle, and it's very, very similar to the work that I've done. Like, before, I was dealing with like agents and venues and like artist managers and artists. Now I'm dealing with, like, you know, government officials and mayors, you know, mayor's office, like SPD, fire's office, like all of, like, you know, for real, like different kind of politics. But what's been incredible is how grateful I am that out of all, it is really hard right now, because it's like the reality of where we are is so tough. You know, our entire industry has been out of work. There's an entire ecosystem, and it's that ecosystem that you were getting to that I want to touch point on. Like, you don't have to be a musician to, like, be in this. Like, this is part of an ecosystem. You can call it the music industry, you can call it the creative industries, or whatever, events industries. But think about, just to put one person on stage. I'm going to put you on spot real quick, Ben. Can you right now, just off the top, thinking about the ecosystem, to how many people, what are the roles and the positions behind putting one person on stage? Go.
In a venue, like a day on tour for me.
Dude, yep.
All right. So for me, on my side, it would be very minimum. It would be manager, booking agent, and most likely booking agent assistant and booking agent's boss. So that's 4 people right there. And then we're talking about the talent buyer, and whether they work for the venue or they're, you know, someone else. And so talent buyer, their go-to at the venue, whoever that is, probably the manager or the production manager. So production manager. Then we got sound guy, lighting guy, 2 bartenders, door guy, 3 security guards, a couple of interns, and some strippers.
You let me know when you want. Am I tapping in?
Yeah.
My turn? Okay, cool. So, you know, on the agency side, let's not even talk about, well, we could talk about that whole thing, because yeah, you got a book, you got your agent, and you got their assistant, but you also have contracting folks and the whole fucking ecosystem at the booking agency that the agency relies on in order to, like, get their whole tour routed and do that work. That is crazy. There's a lot of work there. Marketing department, contracting department, you know, like all the goods, all of that side. You know, go to the artist, you got your tour manager, you've got people who are advancing shows, you've got your merch people.
Come on, how did I leave out my tour
manager? Tour manager. You know, if you start thinking about that too, also think about, you know, you got merch people. So whether you're bringing your own merch people or the venue hires people to do merch, but you also have the people who produce the merch, right? Like, that's a whole fucking thing. And then you have graphic designers. That is a whole, like, go off on that tangent. You've got, when you get to the venue, you have stagehands, you have fucking loaders, you have light techs, you have light designers, you have fucking people who supply the sound system. You have, you know, like you said, the sound techs, you have the bar managers and the security and like all of those folks that keep it going. You have, and there is like so.
Fuck it, the janitor. Like, can we let the janitor eat some? Damn.
Somebody's got to clean up your fucking vomit. Like, come on, man. Like, those bathrooms
has the cleanest bathrooms in any venue I have ever been in. And check me out real quick. In the fucking world. In the world, it has the cleanest bathroom. I don't know whose dick you had to suck to get those things. It is. I feel like if I drop my pizza on the floor, I might fuck around and eat it still.
It's that 5-second rule. It applies. It's mostly just alcohol residue anyway. But
when
man,
we would
like
do rehearsals in the morning there, I'd be like, this is a brand new bathroom. I cannot imagine that there was 550 people in here last night pissing, shitting, and puking in here.
Oh my god. I don't remember. I do not miss daytime venue smell. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, that sour beer smell, gross. But you can escape it by going to the bathroom in that venue, which is crazy.
You're
crazy.
Yeah. When you go back to this whole, I just want you guys to think about the ecosystem right now and think about what is even like at stake. Hey, what's at stake and whatnot. And right now you have an entire ecosystem, and in Seattle alone, I can't speak on behalf of like other major cities, but when you think about Seattle alone, since the pandemic started, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people who have been out of work in the events and music industry alone.
Well, look at South by Southwest. The majority of people that work in the music business are not artists.
Right.
It's true. We're the ones that we're the most vocal because we're the ones with the big Instagram accounts and the Facebook and yada, 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 unless you're like Scooter fucking Braun or something like that. But like the majority of the people that work in the music business they work in the music business. They're not artists. So you're right.
Yeah, that's real. It's so real, man. So like if that's your dream and that's what you want to do, like there's room for you. And I am one of those folks that believe like even though things are pretty overwhelming and wild right now, as far as like folks that have been out of work or people who are pivoting the P word or transitioning. I mean, I had to. I'm a new mom. I have a 15-month-old son, and I don't know that I would have ever got maternity leave like working at a music venue. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I have working at the city, being an advocate, on a larger civic scale for our industry during these crazy times. Like I'm super grateful for it. I want you just for a moment to think about this. Every step of your career, no matter how minuscule you think it is, think about it in this sense. You're building a runway. It's like you're laying pavement or you're laying the foundation and you're building the runway over a long period of time. You're building that runway so that you can fucking take the fuck off. All of the things that you're doing matter. And even if you're doing the bitchiest of the bitch work. And I never stopped. Handing out flyers, it didn't matter who I was. Like there is no job. Let me tell you what. I don't know if you think it's glorious on any of the sides. I mean, man, we're just over here doing the bitch work. You know what I'm saying? We're not Drake. Most of us anyway. So and you're building that runway for you to take off and for you to have hopefully a long, good career in whatever your endeavors are. And if you're creating and providing opportunities for folks along the way, I don't know. I don't know if that's the recipe for success. I can just tell you that's been my personal journey. I know that in my heart and everything that I know about Ben, in his journey has been the same. I've seen you constantly go so fucking far above and beyond for people to provide those opportunities. I also would like you to know that I always go back, I put him on blast, but he is like the one, I go back to this example all the time because I remember early 2000s before he moved away and he came up to me and when it talks about you set your vision, just manifest your shit. This guy came up to me and he told me exactly what he wanted to do. I'm about to move out of Seattle. I have a goal. This is what I'm about to do. He did that shit. Like he did it. I don't know if you want me to like put on black. I mean, everybody knows your story if they know you, but this guy was like, I'm about to go out. I'm about to fucking get on tour with Atmosphere. I'm about to get signed to fucking Rhymestairs. I'm about to tour the world and share my music and grow. This guy verbatim said that. He said that shit to me and then just like went off and came back a couple years later on fucking tour with Atmosphere and signed to fucking Rhymestairs. Like he full on said what he was going to do and manifested that shit.
Yeah.
I will like that actually inspire. Like you have always been such a huge inspiration to me, man.
Projectionist, man.
The fact that
I always.
you just, yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of projection. It's you know, I sometimes I go back to this story with Colin, and we went to Mexico together, and I was like, I'm gonna catch a fish, and everyone is like, today is a terrible day to catch a fish. The captain of the boat was like, man, you ain't catching shit. And I was like, I'm catching a fish today. I came here to catch a fish. I'm catching a fish. I caught a big ass mahi-mahi, pulled that sucker out the water, and I wasn't having it any other way. And not meaning like I wasn't going to leave there till I caught my fish, but it was just this positive projection that was like, I'm catching this fish. And it was the same thing with music. Like, when this whole thing started and I realized that I was actually like good at it, and I don't mean like, you know, I was good at making music. I mean, I'm good at the work. The work excites me. I've been good at it. I've always said, like, when people are like, I don't know how you spend, 8 months in the back of a van, and I'm like, 'cause I'm good at it. It has nothing to do with the shows or the music. I'm just good at what goes into this. So I'm able to take some of that energy and throw it towards what I want, because I'm not blinded by, what I feel I deserve for my talent. I know that I'm not the best. I know that I always have room to grow, but I'm constantly interested in that in between and where I can go with that. So for me, that means there's always a next step to take, right? So let's take the next step. I want that step. I saw those, like when we talked, I saw those things. Those were very possible things for me. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And that was at a much more possible time back then too. Now it's like the market is so flooded. SoundCloud happened, and all of a sudden it was just like, everyone's a musician. MySpace did the same thing, and it flooded things a little bit more. So I got in like at the buzzer, I feel like, before all that stuff became crazy. But it's true. I honestly think if you set realistic goals and you work hard for them, like I wanted to play more shows, but you weren't going to put me on every show, you can't have me playing every goddamn show in Seattle. And so, Jeff and I went and started that indie hop thing. We said, we're going to start our own little thing that we can start. And that taught us so much, because it goes more than just, all I need is a stage and now I'm gonna flick shit up. Like, it was all of a sudden, it was like, well, how many people can you bring? And like, let's start talking about door covers, bar sales. Like, these are all things that the venue was gonna require for us to have these nights. And I started learning so much more about the business side, to where I actually like took a few music business classes in the music school that I was going to. And I realized that I wasn't shit. So I needed to learn more. Like, the things that I wasn't getting that I wanted wasn't because that I just couldn't have them. It was because I didn't understand them and I didn't necessarily deserve them. So I learned about them and I went and got them, but I earned them. It wasn't like something that like just fell onto my plate. I earned what I got, and it took me a really long time, and I'm still earning what I got. I can never sit back. I will never be able. I haven't become successful enough or anything like that where I can just sit back and not have to work at it anymore. It will always be, I always have to have that conversation that I had with you in my head, or I can't do this anymore. And sometimes I do struggle with that idea, being like, do I have any more of this? Beyond creative energy, like, do I just have inspiration to be here? And I guess my answer to myself and to anybody that would ask me that is that I just want a life in music. So if I'm the name that you say, great. If I'm your intern at, for Seattle's, music or whatever, that's fine. If I'm the fucking bartender at the Crocodile, that's fine, because that's still my life in music, and I'm still around the thing that inspires me, and I can still find things to push me in a direction with all of those things that I just mentioned. They will all be things that could inspire me to do better at what I'm doing. So I think that's an important quality for artists, or really anybody that wants to get into this. If your expectation is to be given what you want, then you should marry a rich guy. I don't know. Like, you should do something else, because this industry in general, I believe your respect comes with your dues paid. And that's why you're a name that I can hear anywhere I go. And why most people, when they transition from agent to agent, are going to be like, yeah, but when we play Seattle, we fuck with Meli. So make sure you put Meli on the top. Like, that doesn't come because, because they like you. Like, I mean, they do like you, clearly, but it's because you earned that. That wasn't given to you. You earned that.
I mean, I appreciate that. Our industry and in general, our community is built. It's built by doers, man. And by doers, I mean,
the scotch,
like givers. It's like, yeah, scotch. Exactly. Oh my god.
Scotch.
But also just, it's like, but givers, not takers, I guess. Like, like, for sure there are those folks that are going to take advantage of the situation, but the people, the foundation of the ecosystem that it was built on, like general, you will never find another industry. Well, I guess I'm sure that you would. I mean, like healthcare, like childcare, like education. But like, as far as our world, I mean, you got people. It's like, it's all based on paying it forward. It's it's looking out for folks, providing opportunity. It's a real DIY, do-it-yourself mentality, and paying dues is like super important. Like, you can't really cut corners. And if you want longevity and success in any career, and also, that's always a big question too. Is like, everybody's definition and how they define success is different. For me, I look back and I'm just like, whoa, like, it all makes sense. It was so hard. All the losses. I mean, come on, folks, man. If you're playing, I was a professional gambler for a living. I mean, there were times, definitely many times, where I bought brand new fucking, essentially, like, hypothetically bought like brand new fucking cars in one night. Like, I invested so much time, so much money into creating opportunities for other people. My taxes speak for themselves. They're public knowledge. Like, it's never really been about the money. It's always been about creating these opportunities. Maybe I'm a crazy person because of that, but that's where my heart has been. And it continues, right? It's about character. And I'm so grateful that we have found each other. Like, we are so like connected in that, just the way that I've seen you continue to reach out and really go above and beyond for artists. Colin, man behind the scenes, like, you'll never meet anybody like Colin.
Everybody
I'm sorry.
in this Twitch channel right now knows who Colin is. Colin is it. He's moderating right now. Colin is the one making everything happen behind the screen right now, and everybody knows it.
Colin's possibly one of my favorite people. Like, I mean, he's just, man, you got people out here who just love, and they just give, and they go so fucking far above and beyond to make that shit work. And sure, there's sharks or whatever in the industry, but you got to talk about the long play. There's flames, they flicker, and y'all are the embers, man. You just keep that shit going. So
it's I mean, I've, as you've transcended into a new position, especially, being older and having a kid, well, we're not whippersnappers in the game anymore. I sometimes when I get around you, I do feel like I am around the one person that knows how long I've been doing this. because
For real.
like there's very few people, like Colin's known me since I was in high school, so he definitely knows, but like there's very few people on a professional level that have known me from the very, very, very beginning. And I do get this different feeling when I'm around you that it's like, I don't like, things just seem to calm down a bit for me because if anybody understands, I feel like you would. Because you've seen it all on your end, and then you watched me kind of jump into it. So like anything that you've experienced that comes to your plate, I've experienced on a, you know, across the world somewhere or in a different state. And there's been times where I've had to resource you for things because I don't, especially at the beginning, like things were moving faster than I could run, and I didn't really know what to do. And I remember when we did the release for my first and my big record, which was Together Apart. That was right when I signed to Rhyme Sayers, and I had just come back from New York, and I was like, I'm here again, and I'm here forever. And we played Numos, and I had assembled my team, you know? And I had my team, I had my manager at the time working merch and teaching Colin to work merch because we were gearing up to go on Warped Tour. And I had somebody who I shall go nameless that was working for me at the time. And after the show, you had come up and expressed to me that maybe that person shouldn't be handling my money at the end of the night. And that maybe Colin should be the one to do that. And that was the most valuable piece of advice that I have gotten. Because if I look back at that, and I look back if I would have been like, no, he'll figure it out, I would have burnt a shitload of bridges. A shitload of bridges. And I probably would have lost a significant amount of money. Because of the things that you had noticed due to substance abuse and stuff like that. And it wasn't a mean thing that you said. It wasn't a judgmental thing. You just said, hey, I've been doing this for a really long time, and I just settled for you. And I want you to know that you should probably have somebody else settle. No, he was not stealing from me. But that doesn't mean that a promoter wouldn't try to get over on him.
It's a professionalism thing, yeah, for sure. Like when you got somebody who, at the end of the night, they're responsible for looking at the numbers and asking all of the right questions. Like that is pressed on a whole different fucking level, right? Yeah. And you got to have somebody there who's going to take a real critical look, who's going to ask all the right questions, you know, and that is, yeah. And when I remember that, I was just like, man, you know. That was too easy, you know what I'm saying? So, but
Meli,
it's crazy.
Honestly, like, now look at who handles my money. Colin.
You really lucked out. Again, shout out to Colin, because honestly, it's like he is like the fucking MacGyver.
I tell you.
He's like the MacGyver of rap, or just in general. I don't even know how to explain this man. Like, anything. He'd be like, just give me like a paper clip and a match. And it's like, he's going to fucking solve like whatever problem. And it's going to be it's like immediate, man. And those folks are rare. There's a few other folks we have like a Miss Shayna Foley, who's like our Seattle's like production manageress extraordinaire. But it's like, she's another one of those, man, that is just like, that is what we are. We are firefighters. We are professional fucking problem solvers, man. And you got to be like ready to identify the issues before they happen, and then also quick on your feet. And you got to be chill. You got to be able to have a shot about it at the end of the night, or just laugh about it, because it is like nonstop. It is nonstop.
I always say about Colin that one of the strongest qualities, and the reason why I value him for so many reasons, but one that could turn me off from a lot of people is Colin has Colin is one of the only people that can tell me the things that I don't want to hear, and it doesn't make me mad. Colin can tell me the things that I don't. He can tell me that I'm fucking up. He can tell me that something is wrong. He can tell me that I am wrong. He can tell me anything that I don't want to hear, and I may disagree, but I'm never wounded by it in a way. And sometimes in this business, a lot of the times in this business, you gotta break some hearts. And it's not because you want to break those hearts, but it's because I think those hearts were trying to have something that they couldn't have. And Colin has never had a problem with telling me those things, or telling people that work for me those things, or telling promoters those things, and has never tarnished a relationship while communicating those things. Colin has never... While the previous mentioned person probably would have punched a promoter in the face for shorting him $5, Colin is able to be like,
Really?
hey, I'm looking right here, and I just did the math and everything, and it looks like we're actually $5 short. All good if you kick that our way, or should we just take it out of the merch cut? Like, easy, done. No one's pissed. They're like, oh shit, I've had people try to steal Colin away from me multiple amount of times. Sometimes I wish he would have taken some of those jobs as well. He's loyal as a pit bull, that boy is. But you know, even Warped Tour, it was his first tour, and they're like, we would like to have him like, would he do merch for Warped next year? I was like, I don't know, you need to ask him. Like, and then, you know, that next tour, he was tour manager. And not only is he's tour manager, he's merch, and he's now he manages, tour manages, handles all my finances, and he does everything. He's the cork in the dam. He's holding this shit together. He's fucking everything.
We love you, Colin. Yeah. I mean, it's for real. It's all about your team, building your team, investing in your team. Like, those ride or dies, those people that are really there for you, they are hard to find, man. Like,
100%.
They're hard to find. And
a lot of people say don't work with your friends, and I've seen that manifest itself in many ways. But sometimes you can only truly trust somebody if you know them. And if you're gonna know and trust somebody, doesn't that kind of make them your friend? That's
question. Have this whole time, have you like been able to see like everything that's going on like back here? Like my kid just hanging out.
You mean the life? The life that, yeah, there's some life going on behind
so
you.
I got my
there's
one
a dog, in a diaper.
running a, oh my God.
There's a dog in a diaper. There's a kid. Yeah, it's perfect. Also, realistic.
Also, like, I hope y'all can hear like the Daniel Tiger theme song that is like big over here. You'll know soon enough that's all about Daniel Tiger.
I seen him like run into the kitchen like through the like tassels, and I was like, oh whoa, we haven't gotten there yet. He's not standing. Although I did come in, he woke up from his nap, and I went into his room, and he was on his crib, and he was standing up, and he was just like, ah! And I was like, oh shit, it's coming. It's coming.
He's only 15 months. Like, this is 16 months. Okay.
16 months?
16 months. But I mean, it's like, this is right around the corner for you. This is happening. Look at him.
Hey, buddy.
This guy's about to do a head plot, like just fall on his face right in front of everyone.
I know. I am learning the nothing is safe thing, which is this like new thing to beat into my head. It's just like anything dangling from the counter, anything like any cords poking out, any drawer that's got something in it. Like, it's a whole new.
You'll
life.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I
just everything in my life is baby proofed, man. You just have to eliminate the risk. Anyway, are you guys here for parenting tips?
Shit, they might
Here's
be.
Parenting. That's how it's done.
That's rule number 1.
Step 1.
You put the P in the V, or there's many other ways of doing it now, actually. So you go to the doctor and they put a thing in the V. Who knows? Who knows?
So many options. You can petri dish, like all kinds of. There's options. The old turkey based.
Yeah, works for me.
No, okay.
I'm here.
Yeah. for sure. Oh my god. Are you a turkey-based baby?
No, I'm an adopted baby.
Oh.
But to be fair, could be a turkey baster. Don't know. It doesn't say on my birth certificate. Although I did find out, this is gonna be good. This will be a little thing that nobody knows about me. That my name before I was adopted was Timmy. Why they gotta give me the most orphan ass name they could possibly think of? It wasn't Timothy or Tim. It was Timmy. It was Timmy.
I think that's hilarious.
So and Pants
It's a good name.
changed
I
my
mean,
name in his phone to Timmy. So anytime I call Pants, it just pops up as Timmy. Yeah. There's a little thing about me that you motherfuckers didn't know. So glad that you know that now. And only Meli can call me Timmy and Pants
oh,
3 times a year. That's the rule.
I have not used any of my times yet, so.
You can hold them up like they could be like paid vacation. You know, you can stack them up and use them all at once.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want.
Do they roll over? Do they roll over?
They absolutely do. Yeah, they don't.
So like
cancel.
if I wait.
Yeah,
okay.
like you could come to my funeral and just like stack it with a stack of like 300 Timmys and just. That could be your eulogy, is just you saying Timmy to like the Rough Riders album, like the Rough Riders theme song beat, just on beat, just Timmy, 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 if you want.
Timmy. Oh my gosh.
Well, we have been.
How's your seltzer?
It's all right. It's all right.
It's a Rainier seltzer.
Okay, so they make.
I gotta try it.
They make a huckleberry, they make an apple, and they make a lemon, and they all kind of taste the same, which is weird, but this is the best out of all of them. And maybe just because the placebo effect of the huckleberry, like I like to think that the huckleberry one is the best, so that's the one I'm drinking. But you can't buy them as isolate, like you have to buy the 12-pack of all the different flavors. So you know, give the apples to someone you don't like.
Let's do it. I'm gonna try it for sure. I'll take a.
Do you still go on the croc rafting trips? Because this would be a solid addition.
Yeah, I mean, man, yo, the legend that is the crocodile/Seattle music industry river floating trips down the Yakima River. I think we were 8 years deep on that one. We missed this last year, but yeah, I hope those things still fucking continue. Absolutely. That's been such a huge part of my life. And so much so that it was like a lifelong dream for me to own my own riverfront property.
Oh my God.
So
can you do that at the Skycomish?
I mean, oh fuck yeah, dude. What? Hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, you can float, you can do whatever down that river. That river, you can fish in it. It's colder. I mean, it's no Yakima River where it's, you know, like 90 degrees out in eastern Washington. It's straight glacier, but
yeah, it's snow.
It's swimmable, you know, fish, like all kinds of sporting shit. And this Skycomish is, man, I love it, you know, and that's, yeah, I'm all about that river life right now. That's what happens. Is that a thing now, apparently? Like, do you retire from the rap game and then you just like buy a cabin or like move to the river? You like move to the woods and like, is that what's happening right now? Is this like a mutual common goal?
So we're gearing up to like sell our house and then get like a more like you know, we might want to expand on the family a little bit, so we want to get out of the house that we're in. Yeah, lots of that. And figure out if you know, once we do that, I think the next goal is to buy a plot of land. And you know, my girl is this amazing designer, interior designer and architectural design. She doesn't like design houses, but she'll design pretty much anything on the inside. And our goal our dream is to like build our house that will eventually just like die in. But you got to get the land first because they're not making any more of that shit, right? So,
well, here you guys all heard it. It's recorded. He just manifested that. So let's give it. Honestly, I feel like this one will happen a lot sooner than you think.
I'm gonna give you.
I'm gonna give you. No, I mean it's a good 5-year plan. There's no rush. You know what I'm saying? Like you got some stuff to do. I'm gonna give you a solid 5 years, and next time I talk to you, I expect to be like hanging out in your fucking homestead.
Absolutely.
With your little ones.
Or at least on the land with an idea of what goes where.
That's all you need, honestly.
I'm gonna have Rainier seltzer cans be like, here's where the kitchen's going to be, and over here should be the bathroom.
You're gonna have a theme song that you play every time you load up your car. All your shit's loaded in. The kids are all buckled in. Like, it's time to go. And you're heading to the property. I have one of those. That's the song that I chose. That's the song I chose for us tonight.
Oh, really? And
yeah.
What a perfect fucking segue. Oh my God,
I know.
Meli.
I know.
She's good at this, y'all. Holy shit. So when we wrap these streams up, and we've been going for an hour and 14 minutes, and I feel like we could go for a lot more, but we'll keep it at what we got. And if people got more questions, maybe we can do another one some other time. But I feel like there's a lot of valuable information here, especially for whether you're an artist or a fan looking to get into the business. There's a lot to recall here, so you can always go back and watch these things whenever you want. Dig in. But we have a playlist, and at the end of every stream, I always ask every guest that comes on what song they picked and why they picked that song. And you've already told us why you picked that song, which is so fucking cute and perfect and amazing. And I completely relate to it. So what song did you pick?
Man, I picked that Talking Heads, Take Me to the River. That's how I start off.
So tight.
Every single family trip to the river. This is a good one. It's a good vibes. It's a good way to start it off, no matter where you're going. And apparently, by the way, there's like a million different renditions of all of your favorite artists that have remade this song.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going with the OG, Talking Heads, Take Me to the River.
You got to go with the classic before you go with the knockoff version. Well, Meli, thank you so much. There's a lot that you and I got to talk about.
Yeah, for real.
Off camera, but I'm so happy to see you where you're at in your life, and I mean, even just when I talk to you, when I think about you, it's like this crazy like time warp through my head to like how it felt and how it smelled when I didn't know shit, you know, like, and just like all the way back to that very moment where I had decided that this is what I wanted to do and what did I need to do to make that happen, and how you were one of the first names that came up. Like, you were one of the first people that I had to know to take one of my first steps. And here we are so much later. And I'm so happy to see you where you are. And thank you for joining us today and sharing all this stuff with these people. I hope you guys could take something from this. If not, make sure you tune in on Wednesdays. There's all sorts of different shit. Like, you had mentioned something earlier that I want to talk about real quick before we sign off, and that's don't ignore, for lack of a better word, don't ignore the help. Because the people that are working their way up the ladder that aren't the guy that you're trying to get to, they become that person. Or they go off and they start their own thing that becomes the new thing. And
or they're in the ear of that person.
100%.
By the way.
And I have always been a proponent of that. Like, when I show up to the venue, it's like, make sure you introduce yourself to the bartender and everyone. Like, it's not just the promoter. It's it's the sound guy. 'Cause everyone's in control of something at some point, right? And even if they're just the help at your booking agency or wherever you are, that doesn't mean that if they don't like you, shit might go south for you. And maintaining these relationships is what this is all built on. And I've always kind of gotten along with those people a lot more in my life. And I would say probably a lot of my success in the business has come from talking to everyone in the room opposed to just the one person that I'm there to talk to. I think that makes you relatable. I think other people start to see you as a human as you treat them like a human, because a lot of that's not going on in business atmospheres. It's let me get to what I need to get to and get the fuck out of here. And I think that's a huge thing that from this stream, number one thing that a lot of you should take away from this is that is don't ignore the help, because sometimes they turn into the bosses and the CEOs and the shot callers. A lot of the time they turn into the bosses, the shot callers, and the CEOs. Meli, thank you so much. Colin, let's who the hell won these headphones? We got
I won. First of all,
that'd be crazy. We could get you a pair of headphones. Meli, we'll get you a pair of headphones. Yeah, you look so good in your gaming headphones. Your kid will probably take them.
Is that? Yeah, oh man, is that what you're wearing right now? Because those are fucking cool.
Yeah, you like this shit right here.
I would look so cool on like a meeting with the mayor's office with that. Just lift down my little mic and I'm like,
hell yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Well, you could just turn it up to mute and then you could turn it down and be like, no, I totally agree. So what we need to do moving forward is dibba 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 dibba, Meli out, and then you just.
That would be a fucking game changer for me, because I tell you what, the mic on my beats, it's not doing it. It's not.
Oh shit.
Who won the headphones?
So I need to give Colin a code for my he's trying to log into my Twitch right now, and he needs did you just call me Jessica Alba? I mean, I'll take it. Okay, we're here. We're waiting. It's brewing. Maybe the code has expired, and yeah, I do have ADD, but also I'm not supposed to be looking at my phone right now, you know? Uh-oh, is it going again? All right, I got this new security code coming your way, Colin. Bam.
I'm always doing that to my mom, because I'm trying to borrow her Xfinity, like Comcast password.
Yeah, I do that to my parents all the time too. But in return,
like, I need that code.
I got their Xfinity, they got our HBO. It's a fair trade.
Yo, but do you have Plex though?
Plex?
Yeah, okay.
So I've been on Plex for a while, but I don't have like a server. Colin hipped me to this way back in the day, where you can put all your movies on a hard drive and put them on your computer and leave it at home and start your own server, and then anywhere in the world you can watch your movies that you have at home. So we've been using Plex for that. But
which is what it's used for. Oh, we'll take this conversation offline.
Yeah, I think we all know what it's used for. No, I don't have one of the cool logins.
Porn. It's just all porn.
It's all that good old school porn before they started shaving too. It's that good stuff. It's that vintage stuff.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got here? B Rex 516 has won the headphones. Congratulations. Enjoy your headphones. Meli, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody that tuned in for Wired In Wednesday. Next week, we will not be back on streams because I'm taking my kid to meet his grandparents for the first time, so I'm going to be taking a week off. Oh, wait, that's not true.
Dang.
I will be back on Monday for happy hour. We will be here we do a happy hour stream where we make cocktails every Monday, Meli. It's pretty much this, but drunker. with the same person every time.
That sounds like fun to me.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm happy to come back
Hey, come
as a
check us
guest
out.
anytime. I'll
Everybody,
log in as a spectator.
peace and love. We'll catch you next week on Monday, and then we're going to take a break from Wired on Wednesday for a week, and then we'll be back after that. Enjoy your lives. We'll see you soon. Peace.